Alright, my fellow agents, welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and as most of you know by now, we are in the middle of the Cherry Blossom event. It is live in the game until May 12th, and not only that, between now and next Tuesday, April 28th, we also have a triple XP event going on. Now, since these events began, I've been getting your messages here at the channel asking me to highlight a few different builds that I use regardless of what I may be doing in the game. Whether I'm farming for XP, whether I'm going after keys, whether I'm playing retaliation, escalation, things like that. Therefore, today, my friends, I want to take a few moments and highlight a few of my go-to LMG builds in the game. And in full transparency, I was actually going to show you 3 builds, but I unfortunately deleted a piece of body armor that took me a lifetime to get. I do not want to relive the nightmare that just took place, so I will talk about that when I actually refarm that piece of body armor. Anyway, enough of that sad story. Let's start off with the specialization for both builds. I'm using Gunner, and I've chosen that for the following reasons. You get some armor on kill, a reload speed increase, you have access to the Banshee Pulse, you get some extra rate of fire, some weapon handling when you're in cover, and always remember to make sure you have the proper weapons activated in your weapon skill tree. That way you're getting a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which one you're using. Now, my primary weapon for this build is the Pestilence. This has quickly become one of my favorite items in the game without a doubt. If you're looking for the different ways to farm boar exotics, I'm going to leave a link to a video I posted a few days back talking you through everything you need to know. Now, as you can see, this has the talent Plague of the Outcast. And with that talent, hits applied to buff dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. It stacks up to 50 times. Whenever an enemy dies with this debuff, 100% of the stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy within 25 meters. Now, when it comes to the secondary, you can use whatever weapon you want, and as far as the sidearm is concerned, if you have the quick step, I recommend using that because when that weapon is in your hand, you get that extra 20% movement speed bonus. Now, moving on to the gear itself, you can see we're running 1 Petrov, 1 Overlord, the Overdog's gloves, and 3 of the Lengmo brand set, which is what we're starting with. Now, we're using 3, so we get that 3rd brand set bonus, which is that 30% LMG damage. Now, I know at this very moment, a lot of you out there are saying, why not use the Tipping Scales gear set? Well, guess what? Spoiler alert, that is going to be the next build I show you in a moment. Next, we have the body armor, my friends, 2nd piece of Lengmo, and you can see we are using the talent Obliterate, where critical hits are going to increase weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 20 times. Right after that, we have the holster. It is the 1 piece of Petrov that's going to give us that extra 10% LMG damage bonus. And one thing I'd like to point out really quick is you will notice that a lot of these pieces are not fully optimized as yet, so there's definitely room for improvement. Next, we have the knee pads. It's the 1 piece of Overlord. We're using Fox's Prayer knee pads for that middle attribute, 8% damage to targets out of cover. Another great option is using the Turmoil knee pads, and thankfully you can farm for them right now during this Cherry Blossom event. Next, we have the Overdog's gloves. I know a lot of people out there are still trying to get these things. I will leave a link to a farming video on how to get them in the description down below. You can see these have the talent weakest link, and that is going to amplify weapon damage by 30% to the lowest ranking enemy currently in combat as per the tier hierarchy. If you don't have these gloves in the meantime, I recommend using Contractor's gloves. They will definitely get the job done. Last but not least, my friends, we have the backpack. It is the 3rd and final piece of Lengmo, and we are using the Backbone backpack with its talent Perfectly Unstoppable Force. Killing an enemy increases total weapon damage by 7% for 15 seconds. That is going to stack up to 5 times. As far as the skills are concerned, I'm using the Banshee Pulse and the Reviver Hive, and when we take a look at the numbers, you can see I'm sitting at 57% crit hit chance. Remember, the max is 60, and 116.4 crit hit damage. And once again, remember, those numbers are going to be dependent on not only the gear you have equipped, but having a Shade Watch of level 1000. That now takes us to the next build I'm going to highlight, and as you can see, we are running 4 Tipping Scales, the Overdog's gloves, and 1 piece of unit alloys. Starting with the mask is the first of 4 pieces of Tipping Scales. We're running 4 so we get all of the gear set bonuses. The 2 pieces 30% magazine size, 3 pieces 30% LMG damage, 4 pieces throttle control, where shooting build stacks to a max of 50, and each stack provides 0.5% weapon handling and 4% crit hit damage. Lose 6 stacks per second while not shooting, and no stacks are lost if an enemy is suppressed. Next, we have the body armor. It's the 1 piece of unit alloys, and we're using the named body armor, the Equalizer, with its talent Perfect Obliterate. But having said that, I would much rather roll with the piece of Petrov on the chest because that's going to give me an extra 10% LMG damage bonus, and I would use the regular talent Obliterate. But unfortunately, I can't show you that because that's the 1 piece of gear I accidentally deleted. So guess who has to farm for that shit all over again? This guy right here. Alright, right after that, we have the holster and the knee pads, 2 more pieces of the Tipping Scales gear set. After that, once again, we have the Overdog's gloves, and as I said previously, if you don't have these, you could use Contractor's gloves in its place. Last but not least, we have the backpack, and because we're wearing a Tipping Scales bag, we have access to the talent Snowball, and that is going to increase the crit hit damage received per stack from 4 to 7. Definitely want to use that thing. Once again, I'm using the Reviver Hive and the Banshee Pulse. And as we make our way to the gameplay footage, I want to mention I do not have any global modifiers active whatsoever, and the reason I do that is to ensure that whenever you see this build, you know exactly what it can do without any special events going on. Hope this helped you out, my friends, and as always, questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know, and I'll do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. On that note, I'm going to leave you with some gameplay footage and a few final thoughts. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible continued support. Please let me know of any other questions you have I did not address. Thank you once again for the privilege of your time. And as I mentioned at the end of every one of these, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone. Hello once again, my fellow agents. I hope you're doing well on this fine day. Again, I apologize for my voice, but I've been sick like for the last 4 or 5 days and I just can't kick the thing. You know, it's just annoying more than anything. Anyway, hopefully you will have some free time this weekend to do some farming. Ideally pick up the Lexington, the Turmoil if you don't have those as yet. Also, do me a favor, let me know, have you seen any difference in regard to the key drop rates when you're farming the KITSUNEBI squads? I always mess that up. Yeah, I'm just a hot mess right now. Anyway, what has it been like for you? Have you been getting any keys whatsoever? For me, it's really been hit or miss. And again, you can farm the keys on any difficulty that you want. It doesn't matter. But on a personal note, I do not see any difference whatsoever since they have buffed the drop rates for keys. I haven't seen any change, you know. And in my opinion, you know, when it comes to that whole unlimited Ronin farm that was going on in the game, I think they should have left it. And I know as I say that some of you are thinking, well, why leave that, whatever, because people were just having fun. You know what I mean? People were having fun. They were getting tons of keys. They were getting prototype gear. They were just doing a bunch of stuff. And that's a really good thing. You know what I mean? We have a lot of players playing right now. The game is in a very healthy space as far as, you know, player count is concerned. And in my opinion, when you have something like that players are enjoying, just let it marinate for at least a few days. You know what I mean? Let people hear about it, let people try to use it for a little while, and then if you want to pull it a few days later, go for it. But I don't know. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Oh, I also need to mention that in the gameplay footage you're looking at, I'm using the first build that I highlighted. That's all I got for this thing, my friends. Thank you once again for everything, and I will see you in the next one.